Have you ever cried when you're alone but felt numb around others, or been called too sensitive by your family and wondered if your feelings were just too much? In many cultures, especially collectivist ones, emotional suppression is not just normalized, it's expected. Vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness, and expressing sadness or fear can feel like going off script. We learn to say, "I'm fine," even when we're not. We learn to stay quiet, to survive, but not to thrive. And what if those emotional habits aren't you? What if they were passed down? In Parenting for a Peaceful World, psychologist Robin Grill explains how generations of emotionally neglected children became adults who suppressed their own feelings, then unknowingly taught their kids to do the same. Families shaped by war, poverty, or hardship often had no space for emotional safety, and that legacy still continues today. This quiz is here to help you gently uncover your emotional patterns and the deeper reasons behind them. Whether you're just starting to give yourself permission to feel again or are already on your healing journey, this is your space. No pressure, no shame, just awareness and a chance to breathe. Before you begin taking this quiz, this is a reminder that these quizzes are part of a series we're working on to help you guys. To help our viewers gain more insight into things that are going on in your lives or someone you know's life. These quizzes are not designed to be diagnostic, but they are designed in mind to help you reflect on what might be going on so that you can become more self-aware and make changes necessary. Just like our other quizzes on how are you really and how lonely are you, if they're helping you, it would be so great to have you share your results and also ideas for next quizzes. Now let's begin. 1. When you're upset, what do you usually do? A. Keep busy or scroll on your phone to distract yourself. B. Get snappy or take it out on someone close. C. Try to brush it off and move on like nothing happened. Or D. Talk it out with someone or reflect through journaling. Question 2, when someone asks, "Are you okay?" you usually A. Say, "I'm fine," and quickly change the subject. B. Laugh it off or make a joke. C. Feel like crying, but hold it in. Or D. Share honestly, even if it feels a little awkward. Question 3, when do you usually cry? A. Rarely or never. Crying feels hard for me. B. Over little things that don't make sense. C. Only when I'm completely alone. Or D. When I need to, even around people I trust. Question 4, growing up, how were emotions handled in your home? A. We didn't really talk about emotions at all. B. Anger was shown, but sadness was shut down. C. I was told to toughen up or stop being sensitive. Or D. Emotions were talked about, even if not always perfectly. Question 5, which of these thoughts feels most familiar? A. I distract myself so I don't feel too much. B. If I open up, people might use it against me. C. I keep things in so I don't burden anyone. Or D. I'm learning that vulnerability takes courage. Question 6, what's your relationship with your emotions right now? A. I feel numb or disconnected from them. B. I feel a lot, but it's overwhelming. C. I know I need to deal with things, but I freeze up. Or D. I check in with myself and process emotions regularly. Question number 7. Lately, how does your body feel when you're stressed or overwhelmed? A. Like I'm shut down, I feel numb or disconnected from myself. B. Like everything hits me all at once. My emotions and body feel overloaded. C. Like I'm always tense, even when I'm supposed to be resting. Or D. Like I can breathe a little easier when I let myself feel what I'm feeling. Question 8, which statement feels most true for you? A. I avoid emotional conversations as much as I can. B. I try to stay in control so I don't fall apart. C. I feel guilty whenever I show emotions. Or D. I'm starting to give myself the care I needed as a kid. Almost done. Question number 9. How do you usually respond when a friend opens up to you? A, I change the subject or try to lighten the mood. B, I feel frustrated or overwhelmed because I'm struggling too. C, I care, but I freeze. I never know what to say. Or D, I listen and I offer support even if I don't have all the answers. And finally, question 10. When you think back to your childhood, you A, don't remember much. It feels blurry or distant. B, remember a lot of tension or walking on eggshells. C, recall being told your feelings were too much. Or D, see both the pain and the possibility for healing. Okay, take a deep breath. The quiz is done. Now for the results. If you got mostly A's, you are the avoider. Key traits: distraction, numbing, denial. You tend to keep yourself busy, maybe by diving into work, scrolling on your phone, or always helping others, because sitting with your emotions feels uncomfortable, even overwhelming. It may feel easier to just keep moving than to slow down and feel. But if you're being honest with yourself, you might notice moments when you feel disconnected or emotionally numb. And that's not because you're broken, it's because somewhere along the way you learned that it's safer to avoid than to feel. Robin Grill, in Parenting for a Peaceful World, explains that for generations, people were raised to believe that emotions were distractions or even threats. You might have grown up in a home where expressing your feelings wasn't modeled, encouraged, or accepted. And so you learn to keep them tucked away. But you're here, now. You're reflecting, and that means you're already doing something different. You're breaking a cycle. You don't need to dig into everything at once, but just start by asking yourself, what am I feeling right now? Even that one small question can begin to soften the wall between you and your inner world. If you got mostly B's, you are the stonewaller. Key traits: irritability, anger, emotional shutdown. When emotions feel intense or too close for comfort, you may shut down, get defensive, or push people away. You might think, I don't have time for this. Or feel like you're constantly on edge, especially when someone wants you to open up. It doesn't mean you don't care, it means you were never taught how to be vulnerable without feeling unsafe. You may have learned early on that showing emotions leads to conflict, judgment, or rejection, and so you protect yourself by building emotional walls. Robin Grill's work explains that this kind of emotional shielding is often passed down through families shaped by hardships or trauma. Maybe your caregivers showed strength, but never softness, and that became your blueprint too. But deep down, you might be craving connection, even if it feels risky. You deserve spaces where you don't have to defend your feelings, where you can be met with kindness instead of criticism. Start by letting one person in. You don't have to dismantle the whole wall, just open one small window. If you got mostly C's, you are the suppressed one. Key traits: internalized guilt, emotional invisibility, shutdown. You are likely someone who feels deeply, but you don't always show it. Maybe you hold back tears. Maybe you minimize your pain. Maybe you've told yourself, it's not that bad, or I don't want to burden anyone, and so you keep it all in. You might have grown up in a family, culture, or environment where emotions were inconvenient or even shamed. You were taught, directly or indirectly, that being emotional made you too much. So now you silence yourself out of habit or guilt or even shame. In many past generations, especially those shaped by war, economic survival, or cultural rigidity, children were raised to suppress emotions as a way of fitting in or surviving. If you've inherited that pattern, it makes perfect sense why feeling your emotions now feels so hard and weird. But here's the truth. Your emotions are not a burden, and they're not too much. You have the right to feel and to be felt. You don't need to pour out everything all at once, but just start with giving yourself permission to name what you're feeling. Say it out loud. Write it down. let it exist because you do, too. I promise it's not for nothing. We all pay a mental and physical toll for suppressed emotions. And most of us are all learning how to properly and safely express them and process them. If you got all D's, you are the conscious feeler. Key traits: emotional awareness, healthy expression. You've been doing the work. You've learned that it's okay to feel, and you give yourself space to do just that, even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable. You might journal, talk things out, or simply pause to ask yourself, what do I need right now? Whether you were raised in an emotionally supportive environment or had to build that safety for yourself later on, your growth is powerful. You're learning to show up for yourself with honesty and compassion, and that takes real courage. Robin Grill reminds us that when you choose to process your emotions rather than bury them, you're not just healing yourself, you're interrupting generational cycles. You're doing what many before you couldn't. You're breaking the silence, you're rewriting the script, you're showing others that it's okay to not be okay, and that's powerful. Again, you are doing what many before you couldn't, but they would want you to be able to. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on your emotional world. Which results did you get? Share in the comments. Your voice might help someone else feel seen too. Let's make this a space of connection, not shame. We made this quiz to remind you that it's okay not to be okay, and that emotional suppression isn't weakness, it's survival. But now you get to choose something different. If anything resonated with you, or if you're just starting to give yourself permission to feel again, we are so glad that you're here. Also consider watching our follow-up on how to safely unbottle your emotions without overwhelming yourself. Hit the like button to subscribe for more content like this, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. It's not just a gift for you, it's for everyone who loves you or ever crosses your path. It's the good work. As always, thank you for being here. You matter, your feelings matter, and it's never too late